all your arguments. Some of you were less persuasive than others, but I've made my decision. Heisenberg, the man's fate is in your hands.
Mother Miranda, I must protest. Heisenberg is but a child, and his devotion to you is questionable. Give the mortal to me, and I will ensure he is ready.
Shut your damn mouth! And don't be a sore loser! Go find your food somewhere else.
Quiet now, child. Adults are talking.
I'm the child. You're the one who's arguing with Miranda's decision.
You wouldn't know responsibility if it was welded
Oh,
to
keep growing! One day your head might actually fit your ego!
Hey, don't I get a say in this?
Silence! My decision is final. There will be no argument. Remember from whence you came.
Hello and welcome, everybody. I am your host, Sterling Silver, and today we have a super special interview that I've been looking forward to all week. It's the wonderful Michelle Lukes.
Hi.
She plays Mother Miranda in Resident Evil Village. Michelle, how's it going? Like, how has your time post Resident Evil been?
Yeah, it's been crazy because it's been post Resident Evil has been COVID, so you know,
Yeah,
it's been strange. But I'm trying to think. We actually didn't feel like we wrapped up that long ago because you know a lot of the game was made during COVID. So you know, between when we finished filming or recording and the release, it's not that much time. So
yeah,
not much news to report.
But I imagine your life has just been crazy with like interviews and really trying to use this to, you know, jump off as a platform, right?
Well, I mean, I'm honest, to be between you and me, I'm rubbish at all the jumping off stuff. I'm the worst actor ever. But I will say that it has been, since the launch of the game, it's been crazy busy. Like the attention that the game has got has been like next level. So all the actors are sort of over committed in terms of, you know, interviews and sort of sharing the experience. But it's been good, you know, that's great. That's what we want for the game. And, you know, thank you guys for taking the time to listen to us ramble on.
No, we're honored to have you, without a doubt. I know the casting process was kind of super secretive for you guys. Could you like walk us through it a bit, just from like the initial audition to when you knew for sure it was Resident Evil Village?
To be honest, there was no real definitive moment when I knew it was Resident Evil Village. So my initial audition, I was called by the casting director to audition for a project that she was doing. I'd worked with her before, so we knew each other. I knew she was amazing, so I knew that whatever I was auditioning for was going to be good. But I didn't know anything really beyond that. I auditioned for a few of the other parts actually before Miranda.
Yeah.
And at the audition stage, especially the first round of auditions, you're given very little information, or you're given as much as is necessary.
Yeah.
And it's obviously all out of context, so it would be impossible to even guess what the project was. So I did my first 2 auditions by tape. And the first one was actually for Lady D, and the second one was for her daughters. And then the third audition was an in-person callback, and I got to meet the team in that audition, and we chatted. Steve the director, and then he gave me a scene sort of spontaneously to read, and I was like, ooh. Because I'm one of those awful actors that likes to over-prepare.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit. But he gave me the Miranda scenes, which I think it was one scene, which I read through with, I can't even remember, I think it might have been Sarah. And that was that. And I think it was quite a while later that I got the call that I got the role. and when even at that point, I didn't know it was Resident Evil, and we did a table read, and I still didn't know it was Resident Evil, and then I kind of guessed because I'd worked with Todd before,
Mhm.
and I saw Todd on the first day, and I was like, could be Resident Evil, but it was the sort of thing that you think to yourself but don't speak out aloud. So
Yeah. So you
I don't,
didn't you
yeah, I don't actually remember when I knew, but
yeah.
as time went on, I was like, oh, okay.
There's no
Okay.
there was that no holy shit, I did it, like champagne pop moment.
No, not really. I think it's this weird thing where we were so far into it by that point, and there was no real discussion or
Yeah.
announcement, or so I don't know. It was kind of strange, but yeah.
I know a lot of video game developers, they once the game is announced like a couple months, and then they'll do the this is who's voicing our characters. Did they do that for you guys?
Not that I know of.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I definitely had people slamming my inbox once because I don't know, was there some sort of like there was a trailer or pre-game teaser, I don't know.
Yeah.
But certainly like a week or so before the game was officially released, there were people like Mother Miranda-ing me in my inbox. So and I was like, I swear to God, I didn't say anything.
Yeah. Well, like if people know your work, right, then eventually if they hear it, they're gonna be like, was that
I know.
Michelle?
Yeah, I know.
They just put two and two together.
But I don't think there was an initial announcement, at least not that I know of, in terms of casting.
When you were like before you auditioned for this, did you deliberately say or like go to your agent and you're like, I want to get into video games, like this is the next step I want to take, or did you just kind of fall into it?
I kind of fell into it, which people are gonna hate me for. I was just really lucky. I mean, a lot of acting is sort of preparation and opportunity. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, of course.
I had come. My first video game was Halo.
Yeah.
And which was a big one, obviously. And I went straight to Halo off the back of a TV show, which I'd done for a long time. And it was a similar sort of role in terms of the role I played on Strike Back, the TV show, was a special forces soldier. So
Complete badass.
I was already in the zone, the Halo zone.
Yeah.
And I had been doing voiceover for years, so it wasn't a huge jump to go from doing voiceover and an action role on TV to playing Halo's Kelly. So it was kind of like a little bit of luck, but also, well, no, it was just luck, good timing and preparation. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that happened because it wasn't really a world that I knew much about or had ever really considered. All my voiceover work before then had been sort of commercials and industrials, some narration and stuff, and it had all been back home in England. So the video game industry is not as huge as it is here. And so when I moved to LA, it opened up this whole other world of possibilities in terms of voiceover. So yeah.
Were you able to prepare for Resident Evil at all? Because like you said, you didn't really know going in, even when you were doing the table read, like that would have bugged the shit out of me. I would have
I mean, as an actor, and especially as an actor that likes to prepare, it's tricky. You got to trust your team. And I will say, you do, from what I remember, I did get the scenes ahead of the day. I mean, not like way in advance, but like I didn't get them on the day, which I have done for other video games. Like we turn up on the day and they're like, here are your lines. Sometimes you get your lines without the other people's lines to the context. So in that respect, this was kinda. So there wasn't a huge room for preparation, but I knew enough about the type of character I was playing to start in the right place. I had the dialogue, slightly ahead of time, so it wasn't so much of a shock. And we had a good team, and so you just have to trust your team are going to steer you in the right direction.
Hmm. Because I know you have a lot of history doing, theater and classical things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you think that really helped with the motion capture aspect? Because it's very Shakespearean when you're watching it happen.
Yeah, I think my background as a dancer helped with motion capture.
Hmm.
Just the physicality, you know, dancers are so in tune with their body,
Yeah.
that I think that really helped me with motion capture. And I think my theatre background also really helped because it is very theatrical.
Hmm.
When you're on the soundstage and you're capturing the movements, because you're playing it. Yeah, I mean you're not playing it small like you would for TV or film.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's like a stage performance. So for sure that helped. That helped me. Yeah.
Do you think it would have been different if you got the part for Lady D? Because like you're the expert here with being a ballerina or with ballet.
Yeah.
My assumption was that have to be light on your feet, but then Lady D is like a 500-pound 9'6" woman. Like, would that have been a lot harder for you?
Um. Yes and no. Yes, because I'm obviously not a 500-pound woman. I'm like relatively small. But you know, being in tune with your body and being a dancer and being an actor, you learn to use your body in a different way. So you
Mhm.
learn to speak with your body. So no, I'm not a 500-pound giant. But I would like to think that I am confident enough in my physicality that I can move in a way that that implies that I am
Mhm.
for the motion capture. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, just being in tune, right? It just helps with the physicality of
I
everything.
mean, physicality informs so much.
Yeah.
Like I teach drama to kids, and one of the games that we play in drama class is about expressing an emotion, but through your body.
Hmm.
So the kids are learning that how is your body when you're sad? Are you upright? No, usually your shoulders come down, and sometimes your head hangs, and your energy is less, and like
Hmm.
it's the same thing with with motion capture and with acting and with acting for voiceover and for film and for all of it. Your body speaks so loudly,
Hmm.
right? Do you know what I mean? It's not just the voice. So
Yeah, I was a theater kid back in the day. I definitely know what you mean. Uh, Speaking of emotions, like what was your response when COVID hit, right? Was it like this, oh shit, like what is gonna happen moment? Or be, because like motion cap has to be done in person, but voiceover could be done at home.
yeah.
What was your like initial thought process, like as soon as you knew like, oh, it's closing down?
You mean in relation to the game?
Yeah, yeah.
um I honestly, I didn't even really think about it. There was just like so much going on in the world.
Hmm.
uh I only really like thought about the repercussions when it came to receiving emails like, all right, we're gonna try and do this. Then I
Hmm.
was like, oh well, how are we gonna do this? But I mean, when things shut down, they shut down.
Hmm.
So
And
yeah, I
were you
had
guys just like in the thick of recording, or was it kind of closer to the start or the end?
so when COVID hit, I had only worked, I think, maybe 2 days. So
Oh wow.
I did everything in COVID.
Dang.
Yeah, I did everything in COVID. So we did that. The first, actually I don't know the order of it, but I assume it's near the beginning when all the characters there in a church, I think.
Yeah.
So that was my first scene, and I think a lot of people's first scenes. I mean, I don't want to speak for anyone else, but it was right at the beginning. And we shot that, I think it was maybe 1 or 2 days, I don't really remember. And then I didn't do anything for months.
Oh, wow.
Because that may even have been in that would have been 2019. And I didn't shoot maybe until a year later or something like that. It was a long time.
Was it just because like that's the nature of game development, or was it because like of COVID?
Probably a bit of both.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit of both, I imagine. Yeah. I mean, there was a whole period of time when nothing was getting made anyway because of COVID. So for sure it was to do with COVID. But I also imagine that with game development, it's a lengthy process.
Was it weird when the trailer started coming out and a lot of the marketing was so heavily like in tune with Lady D instead of like you being the main villain? Is that a weird sensation to see and to feel?
I had received an email ahead of time that was letting me know that was the case and the reasons behind it. And I trust Capcom and the team, and whatever is best for the game is best for the game. And I think keeping Miranda as a delicious secret was not necessarily a bad thing. I don't know. I wasn't like stung or fucked off about it. It is what it is, and I trust them, and they know what they're doing now. We're on game 8, so yeah. But I think other people, from what I've seen, were like, they feel hoodwinked.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems to me from what I've read that people were anticipating her to be a different kind of villain.
Yeah.
DD, I mean. Sorry.
I wrote a review on Resident Evil 8 actually, and one of the things I talked about was the marketing of it, because it gives you, it subverts your expectations, like with a lot of the plot points, and that was the one, pretty much the biggest thing, is that the marketing was so heavily skewed towards Lady D and not your character. But yeah, I think that stuff is great. Like, I don't want to go into a horror game knowing what the twists and turns are going to be.
Yeah, and I don't know the reason, really, all the reasons behind it, but I imagine that that's a big part of it. Yeah. You don't want to give away all the good stuff in the trailer.
A big part of horror is the unknown, right? Like and that was if people are going into this game thinking they already know and then they get surprised, it's even better. That's why I loved it.
Yeah, that's cool. I love that.
And like you said, like, you guys are on the 8th game. You've already got the ball rolling. You have this like long history of legacy behind you. Was it more intimidating because of that, or was it just another day on the job because you've been in Halo as well?
Well, again, I didn't really know that it
That's true.
So I didn't have to carry the weight of that in the beginning, but I did find it intimidating nonetheless, because it's a really talented cast. So like then the first day being that big group scene, it's like, well, shit, I got to bring my A game.
Yeah.
So Miranda is supposed to be the mother to all of these huge characters, so even more so I had to deliver. So it was intimidating, but I wouldn't say it's because I knew it was the Resident Evil franchise. I was mainly intimidated because there's so many badass actors in it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Did you yourself, like, did you take on that role amongst the cast of like the mother figure, in a sense of like, Because
No, but I mean, no, not really. But also, you know, after those initial 2 days, all my scenes were with Todd, so I didn't really work
Yeah.
with anyone else.
that's true.
So yeah, so we definitely didn't establish that dynamic in those 2 days. Yeah, and I haven't really seen anyone since. So
Uh, do you think it's better because, like you said, Mother Miranda is the mother figure to all these other badass villains,
yeah,
and by the end you realize she's a character you can really sympathize with in a sense. Do
I'm
you,
glad that you said that actually.
why do other people not think so?
Well, I just think the danger of playing a villain, and also there's a danger of falling into playing the villain and playing it very two-dimensionally. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and the fact that you can sympathize says to me, oh, I did a good job then, because you know, I think I've said this in other videos, you know, bad people are not inherently bad or just
Yeah.
bad, and good people are not just good.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it's difficult. It is difficult in the realm of video games to sometimes find those nuances that you might find in film and TV, just because of the nature of the genre. So I love that you said that you sympathize with her, because she does have a humanity about her. She's not all like, ah!
Well, you kind of already answered my question then, because Resident Evil is this franchise kind of filled with two-dimensional villains. Like the series regular of like Albert Wesker, it's just like, haha, I'm evil because I am. Like, I'm just greedy. I just want to be the bad guy in the end. And your character comes in and it's like, oh dang, like, you know, this isn't just what we're used to. This is a bit more emotionally impactful. And I think a lot of people can agree that, you know, when you finish a Resident Evil game, it feels very actiony, and it feels like, you know, you just finished this kind of 90s action film. And with this one, when I finished it, it was like, dang, it hung heavy on my heart, because like your character and Ethan's character just meshed together so well, and you sympathize for both of them. Like,
I love that.
even when Ethan is like taking Rose away from your character, it's like, but like, that's it for her. That's it for the character of Mother Miranda.
Yeah.
It was just fantastic. I'm sorry to like gawk over it.
No, I love it. Are you kidding me? I love it. It's so rewarding to share that experience with you. You know, it's cool because you don't often, as an actor, get to get that feedback from people that are experiencing the product.
Mhm.
So that's cool. I love it.
Are you like excited to go and do conventions and like see people cosplay or stuff once the world gets back
Yes,
to
I've seen some
normal?
great costumes already. I mean,
Yeah.
Mother Miranda is a lot of work to get that costume together. But the artwork, the fans, it's just all been incredible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you think after, I guess we already kind of mentioned this, like you have that huge background of theater and Shakespeare. Do you think it was like a personal victory for you to have this huge crescendo of like the most Shakespearean moment in video games, of like holding a beating heart in your hand while it's raining and just like someone dies in front of you?
I mean, obviously, when we recorded it, it wasn't that dramatic.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a beating heart. It was like a piece of foam, and there was no rain, and so it's quite different. But and I've seen bits and pieces on the internet, but it is an ultimate sort of villain moment.
Yeah.
I was watching a little bit through with my mum because I hadn't seen any of it, and the bit that I'd pulled up was the end scene. And I did get a little bit like, ooh, like I didn't expect to feel as invested watching it because obviously, you know, as an actor, once you've been a part of the creative process, I don't know, maybe other actors feel differently, but like,
you don't play your own games, right?
no.
Yeah.
And I don't tend to watch the TV or film, you know,
Yeah.
TV or films I'm in either. But even when I do, it's like, you're not, I'm not as invested as someone who's just watching it
Mhm.
from without being a part of the creative process, right?
I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when, you know, anything, you're an actor or content creator, it's just that you've been doing it for so long that you're a bit desensitized to it. Like, you're still super proud and excited to be a part of the project, but it's like, I'm not going to engage with it in the same way as you are, because you're the viewer.
Well, I don't think, yeah, it's because you're the viewer, but I don't think it's because we're just desensitized.
Okay.
I just think there's still a part of yourself that knows it's yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So, and you remember, like, sometimes I'll watch a scene and I'll remember the day that we shot it, and then with that comes, oh yeah, and that happened. Oh, and we had problems with that, and oh, I'm glad, oh, that's how it turned out. And, do you know what I mean? So I'm watching it in a very removed way.
Mm-hmm.
However, when I watched that scene with the beating heart, there was still a part of me that was like, I felt like in it.
Yeah, it
cool.
it immersed you.
I expect to, yeah. I was in it, so it's good.
Did the writers, like, from when you started and really like got into the character, do you know if the writers made any huge changes to your character, like, as you went on?
I think there were changes. I couldn't tell you what they were, but I think that's inevitable. And I think probably with all character development, as the process evolves, and you know, you work with your actors and you see what works and what doesn't, and you know, you make changes accordingly. So I do think there probably were some changes, but I couldn't sit here and tell you what they were.
Yeah. Did you have any moments, like, with the director? Like, did you have any say over something your character did or said, where you're like, I just don't know about this one line, or maybe the way it's going to be shot?
Yeah, there was definitely, with this game, there was definitely room for me. I felt like I could, you know, contribute. Ultimately, you know, they know what's best and they have the final say. But it certainly wasn't a co-creative. It wasn't a co-creative environment. You know, they were open to humoring me. So yeah, and you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, but I like the co-creation. I'm always happiest when I'm on a set where I'm not just being told where to stand and what to say, because I think whatever the medium, I do think it's co-creating.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
No matter what, it's a collaborative project, right?
Yeah, but some people are not open to that, and some people are, and that's fine. But for me personally, I love being part of a group of people that are like bouncing ideas off each other and open to, you know, shifting their perspective and welcoming in new ideas. And I love that. I mean, that is where I flourish, and that's where I thrive in that environment. So, and this, you know, there was definitely an element of that with Resident Evil.
Well, Capcom and Resident Evil as a whole, right? Like, it's such a beloved series, but at the same time, it can be so wacky and weird. Like, I know that you're not a huge gamer, but eventually, once you got into the thick of it, was it like, or maybe like talking to other people about it, like Resident Evil is very much known for campy or sometimes like corny action one-liners in a way.
I didn't actually know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's not a big jump to to imagine that that's the case with a lot of video games.
Yeah, back in the day, like, because it was an early 90s video game series when it first came out. It was just like very much the adolescence of video game voice acting, and it was just like very corny, but such a great time. Resident Evil is very much known for the memes of its funny voice acting.
I love that. I'm happy to be a part of that.
No, well, it's different now because like you guys aren't a part of that, because like you guys do such a great job, and voice acting as a medium has just evolved to a point where the it is just acting. It's you're doing the motion capture, you're doing the voice, like you are just like you say, a lot of people say they're just a voice actor, but it's like you are an actor. Like
yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely think there's within the industry there's an unspoken hierarchy where voice actors are slightly below real actors. But like you say, it's acting is acting is acting. I will say that it is a different skill. And just because you know are capable and confident as a theater actor or a TV or film actor, crossing over into voiceover is certainly not necessarily a smooth transition. Like when I first started doing voiceover, not necessarily games, but when I first started doing voiceover, I was astonished as to the amount of skill that was required. I was doing commercials at the time, and you're in the booth and you get one line. I don't know what the line is, but every inflection and word is so specific. Get to the point where you don't even know what you're saying anymore, and like it's a very different way of working, and it's a skill. It's very much a skill, and people that do it well
is it
very impressive
when you're in the booth, like getting those directions, and it's like, damn, they're being so specific. Is it like maybe I should get more training with some, like, am I prepared? Like, I know you're
definitely that. Definitely. I mean, I feel like that every day as an actor, whatever I'm doing. But yeah, definitely in the beginning days of that, it's quite something. Because there's also the thing where the more you say something, the more it starts to not make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, can you go up at the end of that word but down, and then speed that word up, and then just clip off the end there, and don't be too nasally on that line. And the end of it, you're like, you don't know what the fuck you're saying anymore.
Yeah.
So definitely a skill. And I would by no means put voice actors below any other actor. It's,
In that process, do you ever want to grab the director and just be like, why do I like have to do it this specific way?
I know, but and the other thing is you usually have to, again, not voicing video games, but like commercials or idents or whatever. There's like a clock, and you have to fit it into this timing. So it's like you've got 30 seconds. It's a 30-second spot, so you got to take all those notes, and you've also got to fit it into the time frame to the picture. It's a lot.
When you rolled credits on Village, even though you didn't go back and play the game, did you have those thoughts of like, dang, I wish I did like this one thing different, or I wish I could have done this with the character?
Yes, but I do that with everything, and I think probably most actors do, not necessarily about their whole performance, but they will find bits where they're like, that didn't work. I tried that. I don't feel like it worked, or I could have done it better, or yeah, for sure. And probably more so with the way video games are created. Like, because you were saying about experiencing the game and being desensitized. It's like, it's weird because when we are making the game, there's no scenery, there's no ambient sound, there's no nothing. So we never get to see what you see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think especially for a lot of the people who haven't seen the behind the scenes, it's like you said, you're just in a studio in a motion cap suit with
Sometimes
weird.
not even in a studio.
Well,
Sometimes
yeah,
in a booth in your pajamas.
yeah, of course.
But so my point being was, God, I forgot my point. Oh, about wishing you'd done things differently because you're not experiencing your choices in the entirety of the game. Difficult to know whether you're making the right choice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So sometimes when you play or watch or see the game at the end, when it has all the animation in its fullest, and you've got the sound, and you've got everything, you've got the other characters, maybe think, oh, maybe I would have chosen to say that line differently, or I don't know. I mean, this is where you have to trust the team, I guess, and know that they know what to do.
My last question here is really just going forward, like, what do you plan to do? Like, what do you have anything to tell us of what's going on in your life?
I mean, what I plan to do, I would love to keep working as an actor. I would love to do more video games, but I would love to do more of everything. I'm definitely one of those actors that enjoys the variety of the profession. Like, and some people are very much TV and film, and only want to do this, only want to do that, only want to do voiceover, only theater. But I really get a kick out of doing everything, and so I hope moving forward to continue doing everything. I would love to get into directing. I would love to do more acting, sort of writing. But in terms of specific projects, I'm sort of wrapping up another video game that I cannot tell you the name of. But I don't know when that's being released. I imagine maybe the end of this year or next year. And I am about to start work on a feature film.
Ooh.
So that's exciting. Yeah.
Did you have any tribulations about getting into the horror genre in a sense? Because I know a lot of people can, in a way, kind of get typecast into that genre.
No. No, it was a new. I hadn't really done it before, and so I mean, I certainly wasn't worried about being typecast. You know, I don't think I thought long enough or hard about it enough to consider not taking the role, but I did wonder whether or not I was capable of doing it, because I haven't done anything this sort of extreme, I guess. So there was definitely hesitation in terms of whether or not I could deliver, but not in terms of, you know, how it would affect my career in terms of typecasting. So no, I mean, I was up for it. Like I said, Rosanna she's great. She does great work. So I felt like I was in safe hands, and I love a challenge. So yeah, it was a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, great. I think I honestly speak for everyone that played. There's been a great community rally around this game, and most people, you know, you can't please everyone, but most people have agreed that Village is an excellent entry in the series, and I think you've been a big part of that. Right. And just thank you for taking the time to do this with me today.
Thank you. I so appreciate you. It was great chatting.
Yeah.
And thank you to everyone who's listening for taking the time out of your day to listen.
Can people find you anywhere that you would like to plug?
They can find me on Instagram, probably the best place, at Shelley Lukes, SHELLYLUKES. It's the same handle for Twitter, but I'm not very good at Twitter. And I think there's also a Facebook page, but I'm not very good at that either. So Instagram is the most reliable place to find me.
Excellent. Again, thank you so much. Everybody, please go check out Michelle and her work and her Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter page. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.